Yeah. Who's queuing us? You know. We should know. We're gonna see.
Just keep your eye on the screen.
Okay.
Thanks, Catherine. I'll see you in the studio in a few.
Hey everyone, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Catherine Galata.
And welcome to Newszine, live on Globesville. Today we're speaking about Earth Day, and many consider it the birth of the modern environment movement, which started in 1970. Today we'll be talking about some deforestation information in Costa Rica, the pollution, air pollution, water pollution, especially in France and China, and we're going to talk to people from Costa Rica as well. It's going to be a great time, so thank you for joining us today, and I hope you learn a little bit more about the environment.
That's right, Danielle. Thank you. And right now we're going to head over to our co-host, Nellie, who is going to talk to our connection from France. Here you go.
Woo!
Thank you, Catherine. So today we're lucky to have our French foreign correspondent, Chloe Cornille, from the south of France. Hi, Chloe. We're trying to call Chloe. Hi, Chloe.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, Chloe?
Good. Thank you.
Great, Chloe. So, what with Earth Day coming up soon, what do you think are the things in France to better the environment?
So in France, a law called Bonnet exists since 2007, but some of the measures are not well effective. That's why in 2014 there are three important things that France needs to do to better the environment. First thing is to decrease waste and hazards. Indeed, in France there are more than 35 million tons of waste every year, so it's very important to decrease the waste. There are a lot of solutions. Create more recycling factories, fight against food waste, design more products respecting the principle of sustainable development, and finally develop local composting. The second trend is to add value or to recycle more. By promoting the circular economy, increase the organic valuation, and finally restrict incineration, which produces lots of carbon dioxide. The second thing that France needs to do is to pursue less energy and to fight against the climate change. Firstly, France has to develop renewable energy. The other solution is to increase the use of heat pumps and to develop photovoltaic system. It's a system which uses solar energy towards the building, and finally use more wind energy and geothermal energy. The third and last thing to better the French environment is to act for the biodiversity and the French ecosystem. For that, it's necessary to pay attention on the disappearance of the animal and vegetable species. And France has to restore the ecological continuity. For example, France has to avoid creating roads, costing natural environment. So to summarize, in France, the efforts must be focused on the decrease of waste, recycling, consuming the less energy, adaptation in the climate, and acting for the biodiversity and ecosystem.
Okay. That's really interesting. So, do you think, what are the ways that you think we could decrease pollution in France?
In France, the pollution has increased in a few years, and for the French government, the decrease of pollution is the main concern. there are two different types of pollution in France, which are very worrying: the air and the water pollution. The greenhouse gases are essentially responsible of the air pollution. The increase of their concentration in the atmosphere is one of the main reasons of the global warming. The gases are injected by cars or by industries. So the country wants to reduce the gases by 20% by decreasing the car traffic or reducing the speed of cars, by increasing the common transport like subway or bus, by developing technologies to limit air pollution in the industries and set up regulations. Concerning the water pollution, there are 100 million euros which are dedicated in the water protection in France. But and this money is used to encourage the ecological restoration of the aquatic nature.
Okay.
That means protect the aquatic species, transport and diversify the aquatic vegetation, create more water treatment plants, and also fight against the use of pesticides,
Okay.
like from the agriculture.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Chloe, for your time. Your opinion really matters. Thank you. Now back to you, Catherine.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Chloe, and we'll get back to we'll wrap up what you had to say later on in the show. But right now we have Danielle with Costa Rica.
Okay, so my friend Jonathan Serres, I actually went to Costa Rica this past, like a few weeks ago, and I got to volunteer and meet him, and he has an amazing program. He has something called Santos Tours. He works with Dream Volunteers, and he works with the environment.
I'm sorry, excuse me. We actually have another caller coming in from China, and it's Peter. So we're going to talk to Peter now. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Danielle.
It's okay.
China can't wait.
Hey, Peter.
All right, we have Peter on Skype right now, and he will show up fairly soon. Hi, Peter. How are you? Can you hear us, Peter? Great. We're so happy that you are able to talk to us. So, can you tell us about the pollution in China and where you're from?
Yeah, the pollution in China is very serious, and I can show you some pictures about the waste lake in China.
Okay, well, that would be great. Let's show the links later, but can you just tell us about your opinions on how you think, how serious the pollution is in China, where you're from?
Yeah, there is a lot of pollution in China, and many lakes were polluted, and there are four main points of pollution. They are domestic pollution, industry pollution, agricultural pollution, and traffic pollution.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us what you observe or what you see that people are doing to improve the environment or clean up anything over there?
Yes, Chinese government spends a lot of money to improve the environment now. But I think we sacrifice the environment to the development of the industry. It's not a good idea.
Oh, wow. And can you tell us how things are in your hometown?
In my hometown, yeah, sometimes the lake smells bad, and people and the government needs to call many people to clean the lakes.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting, right? Well, thank you so much, Peter. We really appreciate your input on all of this, and you've been a great help to us. So we wish you luck over there, okay?
What?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peter. We will talk to you later, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. there's so many things we can learn about the environment and how to better take care of it. I know that we do put off a carbon footprint, if anyone knows what that is, and we're leaving behind the, if we don't recycle, if we, we have to take out the plugs when we're not using anything, and it's just so many things that we have to be aware of.
And sometimes, you know what, I find it difficult to even just throw things out
Exactly.
in the garbage. So many of us just want to keep things,
Yep. So, okay, so now we're going to talk to my friend Jonathan Cerdas in Costa Rica. So we're calling him right now. He is amazing. He knows so much about the environment. So you guys are going to learn a lot.
And personally, Danielle actually went on a trip to Costa Rica, right?
Yep, and Jonathan led the trip, so he is amazing. I think he's on right now, I believe. Hey, Jonathan. Oh, hey. He's the life of the show. But so Jonathan, tell us about Santos Tours and Dream Volunteers, or just the programs that you work with and how you spread awareness to people all throughout the world, and even me. And now we're here on Skype. So.
Okay, first of all, good morning, everyone. So guys, right here I have two friends. This is Carlos, my business partner
Oh,
of Santos Tour. And right here, this is Cooper, is one new volunteer we had here in Providencia. So he's gonna join us.
Pura vida.
Oh, good.
Anyway, keep.
Okay, well, let me think. So, pretty much, we are an organization that we're here for the last 10 years here in Los Santos area. Los Santos area is in a very tiny area of Costa Rica, but we are the most important area of Costa Rica because we produce the best coffee in the world. Easy, no? So, well, from the last 10 years, Carlos and me studied business tourism, and we decided to make a project to show the people this amazing place, right? Because it wasn't tourism here. Nobody comes to Santos. So we decided to start coming and visit the people and start working with the people. But 3-4 years later, we saw that nothing is happening. Tourism is not coming here. Tourism is not coming here. And what is going on around? We was thinking about it. And definitely, the problem in that moment it was a problem. Right now, it's an amazing thing that the tourists don't come here. But in the moment, it was like, we don't have like a huge infrastructure. We don't have huge hotels, all include business, and all these, impact tourism that come and destroy cultures and destroy the environment. Sounds bad, right? So right after this, we met with organizations that working with volunteers. 7 years ago, pretty much 6 years ago, we met with the first one. And these guys giving us like another chance, like another brief for Santos Tour. In that moment, we decided to start working with volunteers. And we found the educational tourism. And we love it. We're falling in love with this stuff. We start making community service, right? So right after this, like 2 years later, we met with a big organization that brings volunteers to Costa Rica, and we decided to start working the community service as a first thing, more important than tourism. Then we mix the stuff. We mix tourism with volunteer stuff, right? So we make a different kind of business for this area. The thing was like, we fall in love with the volunteer stuff. And we saw that volunteering is not the solution for the world as well. How this explain what I'm talking about? It's like if you bring just community service to the small towns, the people in the towns start making lazy people. You know what I mean? They say, oh no, why we wanna paint in the school if there's the volunteers doing it? Why we wanna war on this if the people is gonna come to do it? Oh, the Americans coming. You know what I mean? So it's like not cool. That's not cool for a community. You have to be careful with the culture, because the culture is the most important thing that you cannot change in a town. So thinking of this, we start looking the environment around here, and we have a lot of coffee and forests. So, and the people is cutting the forest down to produce coffee. That's not cool too. You know, you have to make a balance, be sustainable. That's why we create green communities. Green Communities is our organization of volunteering. We have like 3 years that we create this brand. It's this guy and me. That's it. This is Green Communities, you know, and volunteers that come in to visit us. But that's it, you know, that's what we are. But we decided to change the name of Santos Tour to Green Communities, or keep it both, because Green Communities make more sense. what we try to do is to help the communities to have a project that if the project don't work, the people are still working on it. You know what I mean? It's just put the seed or plant the seed that the people, fertilize this small plant and everyone create a new way to produce coffee, sustainable way.
Okay,
So we bring volunteers here and working on the farms. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Great.
you,
So wait,
Jonathan.
and before you go, we can always recycle more and do more things in the world. Like I know, being a volunteer, I learned so much. Now, do you have any tips for people in America or other countries that we can do maybe to reduce our carbon footprint? Like, I mean, we could carpool instead of taking each our own separate cars. Like, what other things could we do before we go?
Yeah, sure. What we actually doing is 3 projects. One of those is like Small Planet Project is working with the farms, organic farming, changed to be organic. The other one, at the same time with the volunteers coming, we mix the project. The farming, we recycling, for example, bottles, plastic bottles. We make a project that is called Eco Bricks. We are recycling more than 20,000 bottles. 20,000 bottles. These bottles, we put in plastic inside, asking to her, she was working here putting the plastic inside the bottle, and it's really, really hard work, right? And then these bottles, we mix it with cement, and we make benches, we make roof, like walls to retention water and stuff for streets. We cement in the streets, we are, I don't know, you can create whatever you want.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you for telling us that. And you know what? It sounds like a great idea, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I believe that we should all definitely take part. And Earth Day is coming up, so it's April 22nd, right? So we should get ready and start doing more.
Exactly. And Jonathan, we want to talk to you a little bit later. So we have another.
We're gonna go back to
coming
someone
up,
else.
But we're gonna call you later, okay? And because we really want to talk to you more about this, all right? So stand
Stay
by.
on the line. Stay on the line.
No.
Thank you. Okay, and right now we have a caller from China yet again. This person's name is Sherry, and we're going to go back to our co-host Nellie, who will interview our Chinese foreign correspondent.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. So we have, in fact, our second interviewer from China, and we're calling him now. It's so great today. We get to interview people from all over the world.
Yes, and Sherry is just amazing, isn't she?
Oh, she is.
We're just gonna stand by.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
How are you doing?
Sherry, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Great, Sherry. So you are in China, and so with Earth Day coming up, what do you think in China? Do you think there's any ways of improving the environment over there?
Okay, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. I can't hear you clearly.
Sherry, we have a question for you, and we're wondering if you know ways that what China's doing to improve the environment due to their pollution. In your opinion, what do you think are some ways people can improve the environment?
Way to improve environment, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
There's so much industrialization in China, so I mean, there's so many ways. Like, there's health problems that are happening and widespread environmental issues. Like, what ways could we help this?
Oh, well, I'm about to say that China isn't so good, so we are trying best. I know the air pollution is quite serious in China, and it's also famous, right? Especially in the last 2 years. What do you call them? The heat. The heat is severe. The visibility is really poor, and the heat happened more in northern China at the very beginning, but now it spread to a much larger area. If you walk down the street, you can see some people wearing masks, and people are discussing the ways to protect themselves from it on social networks. I think people can do a little to
to solve problem completely. But our governments have taken some measures to solve this problem. They have closed some enterprises and that pollute the environment heavily, and they tell people their knowledge about it through media. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So can you tell us what things do you do personally to save the environment, such as recycling, throwing stuff out, riding a bike or instead of a car? What do you do? Sherry, can you hear?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm sorry, Sherry. So what things do you do personally at home to improve the environment? For instance, do you walk or do you ride a bicycle instead of driving a car? Can you hear me, Sherry?
And shall we try some other way to that, because we can't hear it very clearly.
Okay, Sherry, we can just call you back in another time, okay?
Okay.
We'll call you back another time, and thank you very much for talking to us, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Do that.
Bye.
No, you can do that.
Okay. All right, guys, and now we're going to go back to Jonathan Cerdas. And I don't know if you guys know this, but only 3% of the Earth's water is actually fresh water, which is the water that we drink, that we use every day on a daily basis. And there's not much of it in the world, so we have to preserve water more. And Jonathan Cerdas can talk a little bit more about, the issues with bottling water. I know that you could even talk about California and how they stopped selling bottled water, right? You could talk about that.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hey.
Hi again.
So can you tell us a little bit about how, I know you know about California and their new thing where they don't sell bottled water, am I correct? And also, there's only 3% of the Earth's water is fresh water, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, what we're doing here is like working so hard for water as well, because, without water, who's going to live here? Nobody, right? So, we have just 3% of water in the whole world. 1% is just fresh water. Other 2% is ice already, and the rest is salty water. So for this 1% of water, how much we have to drink when we have a lot of rivers polluted and all this stuff, right? So we have to be careful what we have. That's why we are doing this program, sustainable programs here with the organic farming, and trying to don't dump the bottled water to the ground. 1,500 bottles are bought per second in the world, and 85% end as a garbage. That's not cool. So what we're trying to do is like helping the people to open their mind to know more about water. Because believe it or not, you're living in a developed country. You go into the education, you go into the universities, and the students come here and they have no idea about what happened with the natural resources in the world. Because it's easy. You just open the tap of water in your house, done, like magic. The water is right there. But what happened when you know the reality? There is not much water for everyone. Just going to Africa, going to India. Or even here in Costa Rica, you're going to the driest area, and there's not much water, and the people is fighting for water. So what is happening in the future? That's why we're planting trees, creating ecosystems. We can create organic farming and be sustainable. We can create ecosystem and create massive production as well. That's why it's very important that the consumers, that is all of us, buy certified products, and to know and be sure that we are helping the environment, isn't it? What I think.
No,
That's what we're trying to.
That makes so much sense. And then also with recycling, I know that we made eco bricks. Can you explain a little bit more of that?
Okay, recycling. What is recycling for me? Well, recycling is when you don't have to bring it back your stuff to a huge factories. Because if these factories has to reproduce and recycle the products that you already use, you're gonna spend more energy. You're gonna pollute more. But if you can use, for example, the plastic bottle, how we use it, still using it in a different way, so you're going to use much energy. So we have to be careful with the stuff that we consume. We have here 7 communities in these small towns in Santos that already they are recycling with our programs. And all the volunteers come and help. We have sponsored 12 kids that they study in the high school already because of us, and they are taking all this trash and they are making the separate stuff, and we are bringing it in different ways, and we're trying to reuse all these materials. Let's say plastic, paper, whatever it is, you know. That's what we're trying to do. And of course the tires as well. You know, all these tires that the trucks use, we are making like retention walls because here everything is too stiff. Here's not flat at all. It's a lot of mountains, and we are trying to make walls with these tires as well. There's some things that we do here. And forget it at all. The eco stoves. That's like small stoves that they don't produce smoke. You know, they are like small gasifiers. And these gasifiers transform the wood in charcoal as well. And you don't have to cut down the trees. You just can use branches. So, you know, the magic is there. You just have to find it.
Exactly, that makes so much sense. I mean, I'm happy that you're explaining all this to us. I know that many people don't even think too much about the environment. They just take it for granted. And I mean, we have to be, you know, we have to conserve everything that we have, or else, you know, soon we won't have it anymore for the future, and it's going to be a little depressing. But
yeah, just try to find 10 things that you need in this planet to live in another planet. And let me know if you can live in another planet. You can.
I know.
That's easy. It's a simple exercise.
It's the hardest exercise ever. But is there anything else you'd like to add, like about, you know, what Green Communities does, or anything that anyone like in my school here at NYIT in New York? I mean, what else can we do to help, you know, preserve the things that we have and help out our environment?
Yeah, just find certified products. That's what you can do. If you don't have a farm around and helping and making organic, you just find certified products. Try to be conscious about your consuming. That's it. We have to stop the consuming, and maybe this is going to be a better planet to live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just do this and join volunteer programs. Do something. Let go your house and find places. You don't have to even leave your country. You know, you can do it in your own country as well. But if you are coming to visit any place, let's bring communities here in Costa Rica. You just can come here and visit us and help us to change this planet.
Definitely, and me going to, you know, through that program was one of the best experiences of my life, and I'm so happy that I met you and I got to immerse myself in your culture and just see how you guys live on a daily basis, how you work on the farms. I learned so much. I worked out a little bit. I got really strong, and I just know what it's like. Exactly. So
thank you for your advice. They're very helpful, right?
Very helpful. And I wish that other people who are watching this also can look for different programs, maybe Dream Volunteers, maybe something else, and just get more involved in our environment and helping others. There's people in so many other countries, and they're not living, you know, the way we are. We don't know what others are living like until we go there ourselves. So thank you so much for talking to us today, and hopefully we can talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Have a great day. All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, so Jonathan told us a lot about the environment. If you guys would like to know, carbon footprint is the emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions that we let off, and everyone, you know, needs to just make sure that we unplug gadgets that we don't need, carpool in cars, maybe you reuse water bottles, like don't throw them out, recycle them, right?
So Danielle, so are you telling us that, let's say if I were to use a water bottle, and whatever water bottle I open, that's me leaving a carbon footprint in the environment, and if I don't throw it out, then that's bad for the environment, right?
Especially, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like hairsprays that we use, the chemicals that are in there, it's not good for the air that we breathe and not good for the world around us. So just little things like that. We always have to be aware.
Yes, exactly.
We should maybe plant our own food and start eating like food that we grow, you know.
It's so much healthier too, you know. I mean, who needs all those preservatives and chemicals, right?
I know, exactly. So we learned a lot today about the
Yes.
pollution in China, pollution in France.
And it was a great experience contacting people from China,
Live.
France, and Costa
Different
Rica.
countries.
Yeah, it's live too. And we're just so glad that this was possible. And now we also have an Earth Day event coming up soon, right, at the NYIT Old Westbury campus. So Danielle, could you please talk to us about that?
Well, we're having, hold on, let me see. Can you, first, Catherine's going to start first, and then I'll
We have
explain.
this thing called, first of all, we're at the Old Westbury NYT campus, and we have, in our upcoming events, an event based on energy conservation, and this is actually a great way to tie in Earth Day, and even though it's a little later than that, but people can definitely build awareness about ways we can improve our environment, about, like, you know, conserving energy and turning off the lights when we don't need it, turning off the heat or the air conditioning when we don't need it, because we really don't need all the stuff when we're, let's say, leaving the house. and then we can turn everything off, and then when we come back from working and we're in the house, then we can turn things back on, right?
Yes, and this is an NYT. We have an energy conference that's on June 12th, 2014 from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So you should definitely check it out. It's going to be extremely interesting, and you'll just learn more. We want to reduce pollution and even traffic congestion as well on Long Island because it's terrible. I mean, there's always traffic, and think of all the pollution that these cars are giving off.
Yes,
so.
and especially from our friends from China, they especially tell us in these industrial cities, traffic is horrendous. I mean, you've got so many people with cars these days. I mean, back in those days, a few years ago, we used to see China being populated with people just using bikes, but now people are actually moving forward and westernizing and using more and more cars. In fact, I actually saw a YouTube documentary based on one of the most polluted cities in China, and you can't even see anything within like a 2-mile radius because the air is so cloudy, right?
It's scary, and I know I just searched up that the air pollution in New York City is a significant environmental threat, which contributes to an estimated 6% of annual deaths just from pollution. That's terrible.
Outrageous.
So we definitely have to do something about that, and that's why we really
How
need
was
to.
Costa Rica? Was it nice and clear? Were certain things
I mean,
cleaner
the
than
air was
others?
beautiful. I went to a town called Providencia, and that was like about 2 hours from the main city. We had to go through, this cloud forest, so it took about an hour on a dirt road to even get to the town. It was there were, not many people in the town, about, I guess, maybe 150 people around there, and just the environment was beautiful. I even tasted some fresh water that was coming through like the rocks, and it tasted just like Poland Spring but better. So we shouldn't buy bottled water, but I learned I kept a bottle with me all the time, and I always refilled from the sink or wherever I could, and I just really learned that we have to be thankful for what we have, because we don't know, we just take everything for granted, and I know not to now.
Yeah, well, that's what Earth Day is all about. It's sort of like celebrating a birthday for Earth, I guess, and just developing awareness about our serious pollution issues around globally. And thankfully, our friends from all over the world are here to tell us about from their perspective of pollution, and we can develop awareness about pollution in other countries, right, Danielle?
Exactly. And I mean, on the first, I'm just going to say a fact because I love facts, but 20 million people gathered in the streets of America on the first Earth Day to protest the Industrial Revolution. But I mean, now we have so many industries that are being built, it's really difficult to stop them, but we can still make a change.
Yeah, we can definitely pull through. And thank you so much for tuning in today live for our show Newszine on Globesville.
And we hope to see you next week because we're here every week and we always have some interesting topics to talk about. So thank you for watching.
And take care.
Bye.
Bye.